The man refuses to let black soldiers sit in first class. Then she gives him a note you would never expect. Sergeant Leon Matthew had been through a long and exhausting journey, both physically and emotionally. After months of deployment abroad, she was finally on her way home. The weight of military life had left her exhausted, and as she walked through the airport with her heavy bag hanging from her shoulder, she could only think about getting the much-needed rest. Leah was dressed in her uniform, the familiar olive green fabric worn and faded from the harsh conditions she had endured. The deep lines on her face spoke of the hardships she had faced, the long nights, and the friends she had lost. But despite everything, she maintained the calm and dignity that had always defined her. When she boarded the plane, Leah was surprised to discover that her seat was in first class. The airline had upgraded her, perhaps as recognition for her service. Grateful, though slightly uncomfortable, she settled into the plush seat, feeling out of place among the other first-class passengers dressed in business suits and designer clothes. Just as she began to relax, a man approached her with an expression of irritation and disbelief. He carried himself with an air of superiority that Leah had seen many times before. "Excuse me," said the man with a voice filled with annoyance. "I think you're in the wrong seat." "This is my seat." Leah looked at him confused. "I think there has been a mistake," she responded, showing him her ticket. "This is my seat 3A." The man glanced at his ticket and then looked at her again with disdain. "It must be some kind of error. You're a soldier. You should be in economy class, not first class." Leah felt a wave of shame and anger. She had faced prejudice before, but it never got easier. She took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm sorry, sir, but this is the seat I was assigned." The man let out an incredulous laugh, shaking his head. "Unbelievable," he muttered, looking around as if expecting someone to back him up. "I shouldn't be here." Leah didn't know how to respond. She could feel the other passengers' eyes on her, some curious, others critical. She was about to offer to switch seats just to avoid further confrontation when the flight attendant arrived. "Is there a problem here?" she asked in a polite but firm tone. The man quickly explained the situation, but the flight attendant simply smiled at Leah. "Sergeant Matthew, your seat is indeed in first class." "Thank you for your service," she said, then turned to the man. "Sir, your seat is 5A, just a couple of rows back." The man's face turned red with shame, but instead of apologizing, he snorted and headed back to his seat, visibly upset. Leah felt a mix of relief and frustration. As she settled back into her seat, she tried to forget the incident, but it kept lingering in her mind, tormenting her. Leah found herself reflecting on her time in the army. She thought about the sacrifices she and her fellow soldiers had made, the lives lost, and the bonds formed. She also thought about the prejudices she had faced, both in uniform and out of it, and how they still affected her even now. It wasn't just the man's words that hurt her, but the reminder that despite everything she had done for her country, there were still people who saw her as inferior. It was a pain she had carried with her for years, one that never fully went away. As the flight continued, Leah couldn't shake the feeling of discomfort. She noticed that the man kept looking at her from his seat with an expression of disdain. She knew he was still ruminating over their earlier exchange, which made her feel uneasy. She decided she couldn't let things end like this. She had faced much greater challenges in her life and wasn't going to allow a stranger's prejudice to ruin her journey home. She took a small notepad from her bag and began to write a message. It was a simple message, but she hoped it would convey her feelings. "Dear Sir, I understand that there was a misunderstanding earlier, and I wanted to take a moment to clarify it. I am proud to serve my country and to have had the opportunity to protect the freedoms we all enjoy. I have seen the cost of those freedoms firsthand and carry with me the memories of those who did not return home. I hope that one day we can all see each other not for our differences, but for our shared humanity. We are all more alike than we are different, and kindness is something we can all afford to show to one another. Sincerely, Sergeant Leon Matthew." Leah carefully folded the note and called the flight attendant. She asked her to deliver the note to the man in seat 5A. The flight attendant, who had witnessed the earlier exchange, nodded and took the note with a smile. Leah watched as the flight attendant approached the man and handed him the note. He seemed surprised as he opened it, and his expression changed from confusion to something more complex. Leah couldn't exactly decipher what he was feeling, but she hoped her words would have some impact. For the rest of the flight, the man didn't look in Leah's direction again. He seemed lost in thought, reading the note over and over. Leah didn't expect a response, but she felt better knowing she had chosen the right path. As they disembarked the plane, Leah and David walked side by side, two strangers who had found a moment of connection in an unexpected place. The note Leah had written had bridged a gap between them, allowing them to see each other not as adversaries, but as human beings. When they reached the gate, David turned to Leah one last time. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to get in touch," he said, handing her a business card, "and please, take care." Leah smiled, putting the card in her pocket. "I will. Take care of yourself too, David." As she watched him walk away, Leah felt an inner peace. The encounter had started with hostility, but ended with understanding and respect. It was a reminder that, even in moments of conflict, there was always potential for growth and connection. Leah left the airport with a renewed sense of hope. She knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but she also knew there were people like David willing to learn, change, and come together in the name of kindness and compassion. And she realized that was something worth fighting for. What moments of connection have you experienced that helped bridge a gap between you and someone else? Share your stories in the comments. We'd love to hear them. If this video has helped you connect more with yourself and inspired you on your journey of growth, take action and subscribe to the Inspirational Lives channel to discover more stories that will fill you with motivation and hope. I would love to hear your thoughts. So, leave a comment telling me how this story has impacted your life or what reflections it has left you with. And if you think this message can inspire someone you know, share it with your friends so they too can find inspiration and purpose in their lives.